Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, amazingly enough, yes, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Today is Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. This is live stream 814. This is your first time joining me, let me point out, super casual around here. We just hang out and talk about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And then most of the time, we will take a first look at a tabletop game. Wow, what a coinkadink. But every once in a while, I do a review live as well. Fairly rarely. So tonight, we are going to dive in and we are going to take our first look into what we're going to find inside the D&D Spelljammer Adventures in Space slipcase, which is hitting stores on August 16th. We are going to take a peek inside the Astral Adventurer's Guide from Wizards of the Coast. Of course, this is not available separately. It is one of the 3 volumes that you will find within the slipcase. But tonight we're going to take a peek at this. Tomorrow night we will take a look at Boo's Astral Menagerie. And then on Thursday, I will actually shoot a standalone video for the adventure book, which off the top of my head, I don't recall the title. And then, of course, on Friday, I will have the terrain case unboxing and take a peek at that. So most of this week is devoted to D&D stuff. How about that? But we aren't going to dive on into the first look just yet. So if you're not familiar with the way this show works, I start off by tackling the tabletop gaming news of the day. So it'll probably be about 35 minutes before we jump on in to take a look at the Astral Adventurer's Guide. So if you're watching live, kick your feet up, relax. It's been a hard day. Take a load off. Pamper yourself. Be good to yourself for a change. If you happen to be watching this after the stream ends, usually about 30 minutes or more afterwards, I will actually have timestamps. So you'll be able to jump directly to the first look if you would like. Although I've got some kind of cool news tonight. In fact, some D&D peripheral news. So you might be interested in that. But depending on the device that you happen to be using, you might even have those timestamps right there in the timeline of the video so you can jump ahead. So keep that in mind as well. This is a live stream, so that means there is chat available. That's one of the reasons why this is very conversational. This is all, stream of consciousness. Okay, outside of the news pieces, those are written out ahead of time. But there is chat available. Yes, that's right. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And of course, you do need to be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, fire away. I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight was Mr. Eddie T. Yes, Illinois' own. Mr. Eddie T. Then we've got the Motor City Madman following up as well. Flaming Huron is with us. Let's see who else is hanging out. Kevin R. Smith. Coco B is also here, and Sarah D. So all of our chat moderators, all four, are on hand to drop the ban hammer on any of you misbehaving in chat, which really doesn't happen around here. So welcome aboard, everybody. Had a very strange last 60 minutes, which I will talk about after I jump on into the news. Kind of dodged a bullet, maybe, possibly. Talk about that in just a bit. So as I mentioned, I've got some kind of like D&D adjacent sort of news, because right now Hasbro is currently taking pre-orders for the, oh, whoops, there's the cats from last night. I knew I forgot to get rid of something today before I jumped in. When I tell you how I dodged the bullet, you'll kind of understand. You'll kind of be like, wow, I'm surprised he's actually starting the stream on time. Anyway, Hasbro is currently taking pre-orders for a Dungeons and Dragons board game. It's actually wearing Wizards of the Coast and Avalon Hill trade dress. I don't know why they do that. I'll talk about that in just a bit. But here's the dope on the yawning. No, that's not the kind of yawning. Portal. Settle in for a rollicking time at the Yawning Portal Tavern with the Dungeons & Dragons, the Yawning Portal game. A fresh take on the D&D experience for both D&D experts and newcomers. This iconic inn attracts fascinating adventurers with one thing in common. They're famished and have unique tastes in food. As part of the tavern staff, feed them by matching up food tokens with the orders pictured on their hero card. Earn colored gems and points for every matching food token, or a bonus for completing an order. Collect more points if you're the first to achieve an objective challenge or earn an endgame bonus. Player with most points at the end, you guessed it, is the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. But there's a twist. The colored gems that appear most frequently on the board receive the highest point value. That's a little unusual. So strategize to tip the scoring scale in your favor. This D&D game makes a great gift for D&D fans and beginners alike, and it's an exciting game for family game night. Whether you're a D&D expert or a curious newcomer, the Dungeons & Dragons The Yawning Portal board game is a fresh D&D experience that brings the whole family to the table. Play as a hardworking server at an iconic D&D tavern. Feed the inn's eccentric patrons and collect tips, all while staying ahead of the competition. Encounter 68 diverse heroes created for this game. From goblins and wizards to a vegetarian dwarf, they each have a unique food order and effect on gameplay. Be quick with the quips and the chips. Match food tokens to each hero card and receive gems as tips. Be strategic to gain the edge over your opponents. Serve 4 types of mini food tokens plus a potion token that convinces patrons to love their food. Play a potion token on a hero card and earn a perfect match bonus. Collect gems and points by seating a hero at the table, resolving a hero card effect, or filling food orders. Earn more points through extra challenges and an endgame bonus. Work the tavern alone or compete against the rest of the staff. The modular game board is adaptable for 1 to 4 players. Dungeons & Dragons The Yawning Portal is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up. Right now, it can be pre-ordered for $55.99 over on Hasbro Pulse. Kind of odd. You'd have thought it'd be like $54.99, but it is $55.99. An anticipated shipping date is March of next year. I don't know. I gotta be honest. I don't know. Because there are a lot And I'm not joking. There are a lot of restaurant games out there where you're effectively doing the exact same thing. You are putting together orders to serve patrons, to score points. Little strange. Just being honest. Coco B says, wow, not what I was expecting. I thought it would be a Hero Quest thing, not a serving folks in an inn. Yes, and of course, the Yawning Portal is famous. It is in Waterdeep. Took me a second there. I almost said Baldur's Gate. It's not in Baldur's Gate. It's in Waterdeep. And the reason it's called the Yawning Portal is because there is that huge, like, chasm inside. Oh, maybe it's not huge. Maybe it's like 9 feet across, but that's pretty big. And that's where you actually go into the world of the Mad Mage, the kind of mega dungeon of the Mad Mage. So, yes, kind of strange. I don't know, kind of odd. The other thing I was going to say, I find it weird that the Dungeons and Dragons board games like Betrayal at Baldur's Gate carries both Wizards of the Coast and Avalon Hill trade dress. I find that very strange. It's almost as if, well, we know there isn't much that comes out from Avalon Hill anymore, even though Hasbro owns the entire back catalog of great war games and other games that Avalon Hill created over the years. It's almost like they use it to slap on to keep it alive. I don't know. I don't know. The game could be interesting, or I don't know. Kevin says the Yawning Portal also had a book of adventures named after it. Yes, that is correct. It was a variety of older adventures that had been ported over to 5e. That book's actually been out for quite a while. The Madman says that they've played a couple of the D&D board games, really hesitate to purchase them after those experiences. Tell us how you really feel, Madman. Come on. All right, moving right along. Arriving this month from Cherry Picked Games is a second edition of Far Away. Here's the skinny on the science fiction game. The Far Away program. The Federation Alliance started the Far Away program nearly 50 cycles ago to discover and explore new worlds. The missions we undertake are of vital importance to galactic prosperity. However, budget setbacks have forced us to reduce operational expenses. That's where you, the willing explorer, can help. Faraway is a two-player cooperative board game about discovery, survival, and the crushing loneliness of being the only two humans for light years. Join the Federation Alliance, a bureaucracy with an ambitious charter of mapping new worlds and a minimalist budget. Succeed in a variety of missions on randomly generated worlds with unique ecosystems, without luxuries like radios, landing gear, and medical supplies. Trust in your partner is paramount, since without radios, you can't communicate in real life after separating on the game board. Survive and you'll be rewarded with a meager paycheck. Succumb to the planet and you'll find help is too far away. The updates you'll find in this second edition are an inlay for the creature tokens, a deeper box, darker creature sketches on the cards and tokens, revamped creature tokens for better visibility, a slight cube color change to improve low light gameplay. Very rarely do I hear people doing things like, oh, hey, got some low light gameplay. And make some fixes to the actual gameplay. There was an errata that was out. Faraway is for 2 players, ages 13 and up, plays in 90 to 150 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $45. Once again, when it arrives, it's supposed to hit stores again later this month. I've heard really good things about this game. I believe, I think this is right now, this is Cherry Picked Games Evergreen. I think they've got a dog game that is coming out shortly. But this looks very, very cool. Sounds very interesting. And through the grapevine, I have heard it is very unique, that it is not like just about anything out there that you're going to play. And I think that's pretty cool. So you may want to take a peek. So now Linnaeus from York is with us and says Dragonfire is a quite good D&D board game in his opinion. I believe that is Gale Force 9, if I remember correctly. Pretty sure. I'm positive that is not a Wizards of the Coast or Avalon Hill title. So, but unfortunately, it also falls into the category of Gale Force 9. They can be a bit of a problem as well. But that's more along the lines of just abandoning game designs and things like that to move on to the next thing. So, talking about moving on to the next thing, let's move on to the next news piece, because you can snag what is simply a fantastic OSR themed Humble Bundle right now. Here's the deets on the deal. Old school rules and mythic adventures. Gear up for classic role playing full of magic, monsters, and adventure with his bundle of RPG books and resources. Journey back to a legendary era's rule sets with Necrotic Gnome's old school essentials, including classic and advanced fantasy digital tomes. Explore campaign settings like the World of Lost Lands, or embark on a journey into Stoneheart Valley, which is also available in a hardcover edition through this bundle. This is something Frog God Games has done a few times. Discover a treasury to make your next role-playing excursion a true classic, and support the Children's Miracle Network hospitals with your purchase. Should point out the Stoneheart Valley physical edition is fulfilled by Frog God Games, and shipping and handling is not included in your donation. So you can jump aboard for $1. And I will point out that dollar is going to score you the Old School Essentials Classic Rules Tome, as well as the Hole in the Oak low-level adventure. It's for like levels 1 and 2, which is actually a pretty good adventure. It's a fun adventure. It takes place in Dolam. Is it Domlawood? Something like that. I always say Dolawood, but that's not the pronunciation. So anyway, you can jump on board for $1, or you can go all in, score all 58 PDFs and the physical Stoneheart Valley book for a $45 or more donation. These savings are going to run through August 25th. And once again, your donation benefits the Children's Miracle Network hospitals through Extra Life, obviously enough. Gotta say, this is jam-packed with goodness. So as an example, Rapanathuk, or Rapanathuk, I don't know how you pronounce that, which is a huge mega dungeon, which I think in PDF goes for like $50, is part of this. Isn't it Highfall, or Highfell, I should say, which is a Dr. Greg Gillespie, kind of a like another mega dungeon sort of release. That alone is the $35 PDF. Take a look at this. Check this out. I want to say, if I remember correctly, I think it's the Classic Fantasy RPG Collection is what this bundle is being referred to as. Of course, you know, tomorrow there will be a news piece that will have links to everything you need to know. But if you want to swing by there earlier, go to humble.com, or you can go to humblebundle.com. You can go to both. But man, I am telling you, there it is, Dolmen Wood. For some reason, I always say Dolan Wood. And Gavin Norman's like, no, that's not what it's called. Like, sorry. 245 Trioxin is with us in chat. And there's some discussion. Mr. Eddie T's been retracting messages. So he's like, a bunch of typos. I hate when that happens too. When I'm like trying to type in chat or something, it's like, oh, damn it. All right. Anyway, so definitely if you love your OSR, and I know I do, I certainly do, check out this bundle. Now Winnie, it says Dragonfire and Shadowrun. Oh, Catalyst Game Labs. Oh my God, that's worse than. That is so far worse than Gale Force 9. I'm sorry, Gale Force 9. Yeah, we're not going to talk about Catalyst Games Lab or Game Labs. I think it's Games Lab. Not going to do it. Can't say anything nice, right? Isn't that it? Isn't that how it works? So Melanie says, Gale Force 9 was a close hit. Gale Force 9 did another D&D game with dragons. That's why that jumped in my head. But yes, as soon as I saw afterwards, you said, yeah, Shadowrun Crossfire. I was like, oh, yeah, it's Catalyst. I was like, I was wrong. All righty. Arriving in stores from my friends over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment is the latest supplement for Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound. Here's the latest on Champions of Death. Kneel before the Champions of Death. Champions of Death allows players to create tragic, damned, and twisted undead characters for Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound. Book features new undead species, new archetypes, new talents, and devastating new spells and miracles. Champions of Death includes insight into the great necromancer Nagash, his history with the Soulbound, and why he may deign to forge a deadly binding with his own skeletal hands. Rules to play as horrifying ghouls, skeletal wights, vindictive soulblight vampires, spectral night haunts, or powerful Oziak bone reapers, as well as advice on how and why your character became soulbound and dozens of sample short and long-term goals. There are 20 new death-focused archetypes such as the Vampire Lord and Knight of Shrouds, as well as rules for playing sub-factions such as the Blister Skin of the Flesh Eater Courts, the Modus Praetorians of the Osiarch Bone Reapers, or however the hell it's pronounced, and the Virkos Dynasty of the Soulblight Grave Lords, and many more. Over 50 new talents, 10 powerful new miracles of Nagash, and 50 new spells drawn from the twisted lores of magic wielded by the undead, including 5 terrifying new endless spells. Over 30 new endeavors for undead characters to undertake, as well as new dark rituals to unleash on your foes. Host a grand feast of the Flesh Eater Courts, bestow the blood kiss of the Soulblight vampires, and raise a horde of zombies to do your bidding. Everybody needs a horde of zombies to do their bidding. There's also advice for game masters and players on running death-focused campaigns, as well as statistics for over a dozen servants of the forces of order for your champions of death to face. The 144-page hardcover is making its way into stores late this month. Does carry an MSRP of $39.99, which will include the PDF if you order from Cubicle 7 or one of their retail partners. If you want to just grab the PDF alone, it is out now, and it is available over at Drive-Thru RPG for $19.99. Dominic McDowell and I talked about Champions of Death a little bit in my interview from Gen Con. So if you have not checked it out, take a peek We talk about the two big announcements that Cubicle 7 had. One of them I talked about yesterday. The other one I will talk about tomorrow, although there's a lot of stuff coming out from Cubicle 7. And I will point out, I have seen some folks who are a little concerned with everything that's going on with all the new, there's two new IPs that are taking place. There's also a journey, a supplement for 5e that's going to kickstart. So I have seen some people who are a little concerned that Cubicle 7 might be stretching themselves thin. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think, honestly, they changed printers relatively recently. And I think one of the reasons why they did is they were looking for somebody who is going to be able to crank out the output that they have planned. So I think we should be in okay shape. I don't think we're going to see Soulbound suffer. We are not going to see Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay suffer. We might see Wrath and Glory suffer, the Warhammer 40K role-playing that they've got right now, because Cubicle 7 is releasing another Warhammer 40K role-playing game, and Wrath and Glory that kind of picked up because they have a relationship with Games Workshop. Ulysses Spiel could kind of drop the ball with it, and Games Workshop stripped it away from Ulysses Spiel, and Cubicle 7 stepped in, said, hey, you know what? We'll run with this as best we can. So it's not really their game. So that's why I think we might see Wrath and Glory suffer, or we won't see much support for it afterwards. I don't know. We'll see. I'm just, just pulling this stuff out of the air. I don't have any inside scoop or anything, because if I did, I would let you know. I'd be like, well, a little birdie told me. I haven't talked to any birds. Sly Blue Demon is with us. Welcome aboard. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us tonight. So my final news piece, now available in PDF from Edge Studio, is Adventures in Rokugan for 5e. Here's what I know. In the land of Rokugan, the Emerald Empire has lasted for 1,000 years. Generations of past heroes have staved off crises and catastrophes that threaten to bring the Emerald Empire low, becoming legends of Rokugan. Now the task falls to you. Whether you are the scion of an esteemed samurai line, a farmer with ambitions, a wanderer who simply wants a quiet life, or an outsider who seeks a destiny in Rokugan, the fate of the realm may very well rest in your hands. So draw your blade, study your invocations, sharpen your wits, and prepare to face unearthly horrors and mortal intrigues alike as you take on the role of one of Rokugan's foremost heroes. In this rulebook, you'll find everything you need to forge your own legend, including rules for species, backgrounds, classes, feats, and more to create iconic heroes of Rokugan. Using the rules of the 5th edition SRD, Dungeons and Dragons, I can say that, they can't. This book is completely compatible with the world's most popular role-playing game. What could that be? There's a new motivation system to create characters with dynamic goals using the inspiration system, guidance on running games in the vast and vibrant world of Rokugan, threats to challenge even the most hardened heroes, as well as an included adventure, A Grim Inheritance, where player characters of levels 1 to 3 venture into a haunted castle in the forbidding Shadowlands. The 424-page PDF, that's a biggin, of Adventures in Rokugan for 5e is available at Drive-Thru RPG right now for $25. I always have liked Legend of the Five Rings. when it was with AEG, when it was one of their big titles, the collectible card game as well as a role-playing game, I think they did really stellar work on that. And their community was rabid. I mean, they were really, really into L5R. I don't know, since it's over at FFG, I know the card game is still, people play it, but it's no longer like, it's not a CCG anymore. It's an LCG, a living card game. So the collectability is no longer part of it. And I don't know. I don't know about the role-playing game. I'm not sure how well it has gone, but if it's 70% as cool as AEG's version of it, it's going to be pretty good. And I do think they kept some of the same folks who were involved in the role-playing game with it when it went to FFG, and then, of course, became part of the offshoot Edge Studio. So artwork looks pretty nice. That's one thing L5R has always had, is really cool artwork. Flaming Heron says they hope that Wrath and Glory still gets support, and hopes that's not the case, what I was talking about, because it's not a bad system. It is not, especially once Cubicle 7 came in and kind of cleaned it up more. Kind of, took the edges off where they were a little too sharp and pointy and did not work. Bandman says, I hope they did away with the feat/ability chink in the armor they had in the original Rokugan setting. Just an errant, insensitive name in the setting. It really pissed me off at the time. Yes. Yeah. Look at the time. Although, I mean, let's be honest. That phrase, right, even back then, because I think L5R, the role-playing game, came along 90s, late 90s, early 2000s. It's not like it came around in, like, it's not Bushido from Fantasy Games Unlimited, which I swear that has aged pretty well. Even though FGU games were kind of clunky, I think Bushido was actually done all right. Disavow 92 is with us. Malwinia says, yes, the AEG version of L5R is good. Yes, it is. It is pretty good. So Kevin points out, yes, the word chink, what the actual definition is, which I think everybody knows. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody Asian, but the use in the way it's used, I see where the madman's coming from. So I understand both sides of the coin. Anyway, all right, that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. And don't forget, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf site. So if you are going to swing on over to Drive-Thru RPG or Dungeon Masters Guild or Storyteller's Vault or what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. I always point out, even if you're going to say Wargame Vault and you're at thegaminggang.com and you see the banner is for Drive-Thru RPG, just click on it. When you get to the landing page, look to your lower left, scroll down a little bit, and then you'll see all the One Bookshelf sites. If you click on whatever site you're going to from there, the affiliate code still holds. So you can still help us out at TGG, even if you're going to Drive-Thru cards, by simply clicking on any of the banners and looking to your lower left. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com is a valuable resource, hell, if you like what we do, You can always swing on over to paypal.me/the gaming gang and making a small donation. And big tip of the cap, thank you very kindly to, off the top of my head, if I remember right, it is Marcus George who made a donation last night. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate that. So thank you very kindly. Thank you very much. All right. So that is the news. A few things, and now I'll talk about the bullet I may have dodged. I'm not positive if the bullet has been dodged or not. It may still be in transit. I don't know. But don't forget, I am in the midst of a contest, which is really pretty much focused on you folks watching out there. And it simply has to do with the role-playing game company and creator interviews that I did at Gen Con this past week. And whichever creator / publisher ends up with the most views by midnight Monday. So you've got throughout the rest of the week, you got all weekend to watch the 5 videos. So we've got Cobalt Press, Cubicle 7, Chris Spivey, Chaosium. Who's the, Paizo. And that was a fun interview too, and I'm forgetting Paizo. Whoever ends up with the most views, I'm going to randomly select a commenter on that video, and they are going to win copies of the 2 latest major PDFs that creator or publisher has released. Yes. Very nice. Very nice. And the reason why I say it's kind of focused more on those of you out there watching is I've only tweeted it. I'll probably retweet it once, and that'll be it. I will only be mentioning the contest on this show. So today, I did it yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And of course, you got to be a subscriber to win. I would appreciate if you give the video a thumbs up. I appreciate that, but you must be a subscriber to win. All right, Christopher Rush has joined us as well. So let's see what's going on in chat. Kevin says, part of them wonders if the L5R setting is going to translate well into 5e. See, I'm kind of curious because I've never seen the FFG/Edge Studio edition of L5R. And I know the AEG edition had a lot of political intrigue and social aspects to the game, and of course, class. And when I'm talking about class, I don't mean character class, I mean social class coming into play. Sometimes I'm kind of curious how that's going to translate into 5e as well. Just like Cubicle 7 has Doctor Who, Doctors and Daleks coming, and that is going to port over the Doctor Who role-playing game over to 5e. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to go, because, of course, a vast majority of that is non-conflict. So Clint Gibson is with us. So Clint says, been lurking. I was really hoping to see Jeff doing his best Hero Quest Barbarian with the sword at Gen Con. Yes. So Madman missed Clint popping on in and said, yeah, he missed his perception notice check. So sweet. Very, very cool. All right. So I want to talk about that contest. I'm going to have another contest I'll talk about as we're taking a peek at the Astral Adventurer's Guide in just a moment. But I was talking about, I dodged a bullet. So an hour before the stream started, I get a text from my best friend, Elliot Miller, who I was just at Gen Con with, and he has COVID-19 and feeling miserable. I'm like, uh-oh. Like, I'm feeling all right. Oh my God. And of course, it can incubate forever. So thankfully I had some home tests, which were still good, still valid. Did the home test and got my results 15 minutes before the show was going to start. And it is negative. So, and I know a negative test does not necessarily mean I do not have COVID, but it's a better indicator that I don't. So I'm like, phew, I don't need that nonsense. Not now. Not now while my dad's still recuperating from his triple bypass. I don't need that. So, all right. So there's some discussion of Catalyst Game Labs and Shadowrun. Yes, Shadowrun has just gotten worse and worse every edition with Catalyst Game Labs. I don't want to pick on them, but it is just not a very well-run company. And they've been around for so long, and BattleTech and Shadowrun keep them afloat, whereas any company that was run with a minimum of competence, they should be printing money with those two licenses. They really, really should. But they tend to be a company that kind of just half-asses and kind of like, well, we'll put the minimum effort in, So, anyway, so I don't have anything against anybody there and things like that. It's just that their stuff tends to be a mess. All I'm saying. All right, we are going to jump into Dungeons and Dragons, the Astral Adventurer's Guide in just a moment. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
What's your pleasure, sir or madam, and all you kiddies too? Sandwiches, freshly made from quality ingredients, soft drinks, cool, tangy, and refreshing. A hot dog? There you are, tender, juicy, done to a turn with some fixins. Hamburgers, ma'am? Just the way you like them, meaty, moist, and broiled to perfection. Soft drinks, kiddies? Take your choice, cold, tingly with flavor, all your favorite soft drinks for your selection. Something to eat for everyone, soft drinks to make your evening complete. Delicious, fresh, and satisfying to help your entertainment reach the peak of family fun.
Like you crave that corn when it's freshly bobbed, you gotta beat it to the box with the butter on the top. Get with it, man, start strolling down to the sweets that set you rolling, the best in town. Our candy's real gone, if I'm understood. To all you squares, that means the confection is positively delicious. Cork that stuff, give me 5, let me send you into this nutty jive. Go, man, go, it ain't very far. Shake it on down to this cool snack bar. Come on, Jill, give us a treat. A friendly pepper-upper with a tasty beat.
Drink Dr. Pepper, Dr. Pepper, 'cause it never lets you down.
Frosty, man, frosty.
You can't persuade me to drink Wilkins instant coffee.
Pretty please?
Oh, okay.
Just a stab in the dark.
Oh, I float through the air with the greatest of ease, with or without the flying trapeze. My act is so great, gravity I defy, 'cause I drink T-O-D-D-Y.
Yes, Toddy, the chocolate malt in a can. Get it, everybody. It's time to drink your chocolate toddy.
Mmm, delicious.
Yes, Wilkins survives. I should say Wilkins. I said Wilkins. Well, yeah, Wilkins survives all the time. He never dies. But Wilkins survived. Little perforated, but he still survived. So we got that. There you go. Melwinius points out that they had a bit of the Omicron variant. And back in March, we know the Madman has had COVID as well. So I don't know. Kevin says the stream paused for a few moments. Just saw the Wilkins ad. Do you want to mention? I don't know. For some reason, I was getting something ready and I glanced up and I did notice that intermission video had paused for a second. I didn't hit anything. It's like, I don't know. What was that? What happened there? But it was only a few seconds. Shouldn't have been very long. All right. So, as previously mentioned, tonight I am going to take a first look and dive on into Dungeons and Dragons Spelljammer Adventures in Space, the Astral Adventurer's Guide, which is one of the 3 volumes that is found in this slipcase set from Wizards of the Coast. This hardcover is supposed to clock in at 64 pages. In fact, all 3 of the books are supposed to be 64 pages in length each. The set carries an MSRP of $64.99 when it arrives in stores on August 16th. Now, I normally do not specifically recommend particular retailers, but I have seen the pre-order. Like what? Come on, Jeff, use your words. I've seen the pre-order on Amazon at $41.99. So if somebody out there is interested in picking this up, you might want to take a look at Amazon if saving more than $20, more than a third almost, might be something for you to take a peek at. All right, so let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got the Astral Adventurer's Guide. Ta-da! This has the rules. So these are the rules that are going to be utilized for Spelljammer. So we also have the bestiary. We also have the adventure book, which I think is 9 interconnected adventures off the top of my head, I think. So a few things let's talk about before I jump on in here. First off, this is part of the slipcase set. This is not available individually as far as I know. But as Hubcam 210 has joined us, it's been a while since we've seen the Hubcam. Welcome aboard. And Shane Sangster is with us as well. Welcome. Thank you very much for hanging out with us in chat tonight. Anyway, so this is not sold individually. We'll look at the back in a second, see if there is an MSRP on this, but I don't think so. Connor Dunning is with us and points out the original Spelljammer box set is about $22 on Drive-Thru RPG. I always point out that the DM's Guild and Drive-Thru RPG are excellent options as far as picking up old school AD&D, 2nd edition D&D, even 3rd edition D&D adventures. So remember that you don't have to necessarily be looking on the secondary market for a module that's all beat to hell. Anyway, so this was sent as a review copy, but it's important for you to know that neither I nor anyone else involved with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation from Wizards of the Coast for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it is very important that you know that. I know a lot of people out there are like, yeah, whatever. I don't. Nobody pays me to share this with you. And that way, I get to tell you exactly what I think. Shane points out, yes, you said my last name correctly. Well done. I try. I do my best. All right. Also, I'm going to say picture in picture up here. So as we take a peek through, I am going to be cutting off a little bit of the upper left portion of the book. Also, we're not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a good feel for what you're going to find in this guide. So we're going to start off by flipping it on over, taking a look at the back here. I just took the shrink wrap off of the slipcase prior to going live. So if I totally butcher reading the back of this, you know why. Set sail for the stars. Welcome to the astral plane, the starlit realm that surrounds the worlds of the Dungeons and Dragons multiverse. Hop aboard a spell-jamming ship and set a course for adventure. The Astral Adventurer's Guide is intended for players and dungeon masters keen to explore the Spelljammer setting. This book contains the following: backgrounds and races for player characters, spells and magic items, rules for running D&D campaigns set in Wild Space and the Astral Sea, ship descriptions and deck plans, the Rock of Brawl, an asteroid city that can serve as both an adventure location and a campaign hub. And as you see, no MSRP on the back. Let's dive on in. As I have mentioned before, and of course I will mention this once again, it is Mr. Eddie Typo tonight, says Coco, because Eddie keeps retracting messages. Few too many adult beverages there, Eddie, huh? Nah, I'm joking. A little too much of that natural herb this evening, which would be fine. I have no issue with any of that. Okay, so I am not going to go through all of the illustrators or writers or anything like that. Project lead is Chris Perkins, as per usual, but we've got all of our credits right here. Anyway, I was starting to say that I am not familiar with the Starjammer setting at all, really, because my friends and I, we were long gone from D&D by the time this arrived. So I was already well into my 4 decades of running Call of Cthulhu by this point in time. So I know a little bit about it here and there. I know about some of the races that made their appearances and stuff. But all in all, this is all brand new to me. Also, do want to point out that, yes, I provide coverage of all the 5e releases that come from Wizards of the Coast. I review them as well, but I am by far not someone who runs a Dungeons and Dragons channel. So I am not as well versed in all things 5e as many other outlets happen to be, because I share reviews of D&D and Pathfinder and Call of Cthulhu and Free League Publishing stuff and Cubicle 7 stuff. So I don't have a luxury of just only reading D&D stuff. So we got our introduction here: vast oceans of adventure. In a D&D game, adventures can unfold in any corner of the multiverse, not just in the dungeons and the wildernesses of the material plane, but also on other planes of existence, including what celestial navigators refer to as wild space. When you stand on a material plane world and look up at the night sky, what you're seeing is wild space, and beyond that, the astral sea. Exploring these realms and the worlds they surround is the crux of a Spelljammer campaign. So we're going to get into some campaign adventure seeds, it looks like. So we'll point out that the paper stock on this is really nice. It is far thicker than what we normally will see in a 5e book. And I think one of the reasons might be is because each of these books are only clocking in at 64 pages. So, all right, we got our character options. So we've got Astral Drifter, Wild Spacer. Looks like those are the two. we've got some races here as well. So we've got the Astral Elf, the Autonome, the GIF. Yes. When we go full screen back on me again, I actually have a little GIF sitting up there over my shoulder. You might be able to make it out. We have the Hedazy, the Plasmoid, and the Thrycreen. So we have breakdown here, our races here. So next chapter is Astral Adventuring. How does spell jamming work? Spell jamming is the act of using a spell jamming helm, described later in the chapter, to propel and maneuver a ship. The individual that operates the helm is called, you guessed it, a spelljammer. Christopher says they played 4 sessions in a spelljammer game in the 90s. They clearly remember facing a beholder in an asteroid field, which was great. You know, it's kind of funny. I have heard of one of the things with spelljammer games were like some of the like really epic battles, like battling a fleet of beholder ships and things like that. So Sarah points out it is Giant Hands Tiny Keyboard that's causing Mr. Eddie T some problems this evening. All right, so Spelljammer Duels. So far, the artwork's pretty cool. I'm liking the artwork. Oh, hey, by the way, look, there's a bunch of beholders. I didn't even notice that. I'm busy looking at the camera talking. Then I looked down. I'm like, oh, look. Well. I'm trying to see. I don't know. Maybe they're not beholders. They've got so many of these things that look like beholders, like eye tyrants and things like that. Christopher points out, yeah, excellent artwork. And that every Spelljammer game that they played, all 4 sessions, were memorable. That's the important thing. As a game master, that's in my opinion. What really matters is that your players remember those sessions. And as I have pointed out before, that amazingly enough, my players in my Call of Cthulhu adventures, 35 or more years later, those original investigators remember loads and loads of stuff about those tales. I've mentioned it time and time again. My best friend, Elliot, he can't tell you what he had lunch yesterday, but he can go through great detail about massive Nyarlathotep. So Zorex Zoran 1 is popping in. Been a while since we've seen Double Z1. Says that they're just popping in to say hello, howdy. I'm going to check out the rest of this tomorrow. So we've got some magic items. Okay, so we've got the spell jamming helm here. Says the function of this ornate chair, you were thinking it was going to be a helmet, is to propel and maneuver a ship on which it has been installed through space and air. Why did that sentence not read like correctly to me? Man, I don't know. You could also propel and maneuver a ship on water or underwater, provided the ship is built for such travel. So let me get this straight. So you could travel through wild space in a ship, but you wouldn't be able to travel on water? Okie doke. Sensation of being attuned to a spell jamming helm is akin to the pins and needles effect one experiences after one's arm or leg falls asleep, but not as painful. Cool. So these are some examples of spell jamming helms. It's kind of wild. It's kind of got a scorpion tail to it. Now we get into ships. Is that the first one? Yeah, spell jamming ships. So we have the Bombard. Then we got our deck plans here. We have the flying fish ship. Now, keep in mind, I am skipping pages here, so you're not going to see all of the ships. But that is a flying fish ship. Here we've got a lamprey. Lamprey ships are among the oldest spelljamming ships still in use. Using the metal grappling jaws built into its bow, a lamprey ship can attach itself to another ship, which is a critical feature during boarding actions. Yes, I would think that would be a very useful feature. The Nautiloid. Yes, I am Captain Nemo of the Nautiloid. Built and used by mind flayers, Nautiloids are designed exclusively for space travel. They can't float on water. God, we were just talking about that. This book is reading my mind. I'm just kidding. Nor can they land safely on the ground. Well. So we get a ship summary. So we get talk about the crew of the weapons. This is what it looks like here. So to kind of give you an idea, this is an armor class 15. It's wood, 400 hit points, damage threshold 15. It can fly 40 feet. It says 4.5 miles per hour. That sounds weird. Has cargo room for 17 tons, crew of 20. It's 180 feet at the keel, 30 feet at the beam, and it costs 50,000 gold pieces. So Melania says, saying stuff 3 times can be dangerous. Flaming Heron said, only if Jeff says it on stream. Right. No, I'll only say Bloody Mary twice in front of the mirror. I tried that one time as a kid. Nothing happened. Didn't even scare myself. So here is Scorpion ship. Looks like a great majority of the page space to this is devoted to the ships. So here we have Space Galleon. Space Galleon is a mainstay among the host of vessels that ply wild space and the astral sea. Space. I need a sip. Christopher says, nice. I like they actually list the cost of the ships in the book. Though I have discussed in the past how it seems that like gold in that it just doesn't really matter anymore in D&D. MC has joined us in stage space. Yes. Yes, the space galleon. Like an ordinary galleon, a space galleon isn't built to land on the ground. Its keel would cause it to roll on its side. Ship standard weaponry includes 2 forward mounting ballistae and aft mounted Mingonal. I am not familiar with what that is. The Star Moth, that's kind of cool. What is that, an elven ship? Star Moths are ships constructed and flown by, there you go, astral elves, who don't like it when these ships end up in the hands of others. Nah. We have a tyrant ship, which are beholder ships. Okay, then we get our locale, the Rock of Brawl. So it is a floating island. Brawl is a city built on an asteroid. Its inhabitants, who hail from many worlds, typically refer to Brawl as the Rock. So it's Alcatraz. There's no other place quite like it in wild space. This chapter provides an overview of the asteroid city, which can serve as a hub for campaigns set in wild space. The accompanying poster map shows the topside and underside of the Rock of Brawl, which are described later in this chapter. So it looks like we've got 8 pages devoted to it. All right. And then we've got our pull-out map. Let's see what we can see of this. Well, we should be able to see a good amount of this without pulling it out of the book. There you go. That's pretty nice. So this is the top side. Do we have, yep, sure enough. So this is the underside. There is a prison because it says prisoner barracks. So it is The Rock. Or maybe it's owned by Dwayne Johnson. I don't know. Sly Blue Demon says, not a fan that the city is in the rules book and not the adventure book. They could have used those 8 pages for more Spelljammers. Huh. That's a good point. Well, we will be looking at the adventure book. That is not going to be live. So that is going to be on Thursday. That's going to be a standalone video. So because I only do live streams Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And to be honest, I knew I had a package yesterday. If you watched yesterday's show, I had mentioned I knew I had a package coming from Wizards of the Coast. I didn't know what was in it. I thought it was possibly the starter set that is the exclusive to Target. And it said 17 pounds. And I thought, well, it can't be Spelljammer. Even if they give me the alternate art edition, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, I was like, that's not 17 pounds. It was the terrain case. So that's what that was. All right. So that is a look at the Astral Adventurer's Guide for Dungeons and Dragons. Once again, it is part of D&D Spelljammer Adventures in Space from Wizards of the Coast, which is arriving on August 16th and does carry an MSRP of $64.99. Let's swing on over to the other camera because tomorrow, pull this on out. So if you tuned in a little late, this is the slipcase. And it is the same on both sides. And this does include the 3 volumes, which are all supposed to clock in at 64 pages, as well as a Dungeon Master screen, which I'm going to take a look at that when we look at the adventure book, which is Light of Xaryxis, Xaryxis. Xaryxis. Once again, as I point out, I am not completely well-versed in all things D&D. So I do my best. But you got to remember, I also have a lot of other games that I got to tackle as well. Plus, I've been running Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, so I've got that rattling around in my head also. So tomorrow we are going to take a look at Boo's Astral Menagerie, or Menagerie, however you want to pronounce it. This is going to be a bit of a bestiary. And as you can see, we've got Minsk and Boo on the cover. So we are going to take a peek at that. So I already told you about the contest for the Gen Con interviews with the role-playing game companies and creators. So I also do want to point out, as usual, I got an alternate art edition. Once again, all 3 volumes. So it's all in one slipcase. And I am going to give this away to a single lucky viewer. Once again, going to make it very, very easy for you to get on board in the contest. So, number 1, this is always the case. All my contests are always going to include this. You have to be a subscriber to the channel. I would prefer if you would give a thumbs up to the video. I would appreciate that. And what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to comment on each of the 3 videos for the first looks. So tonight's show, tomorrow's show, and then Thursday's standalone video, you need to comment on. I am going to select one random winner from those folks. Once again, you gotta be able to do all three to get in the running. And whoever it is, I will ship this off to you. You can be outside the U.S. Yes, it's true. I will even ship it to Australia if need be. I know. Well, I'll ship to any country that I can legally ship things from. So if you're watching in North Korea, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry. Anyway, so that is the contest. Easy peasy, really easy to get into. I never like to make stuff difficult. As far as the comment, just tell me what you're looking forward to in that book. What was something that looked cool to you in that particular book? Simple enough. Simple enough. The Badger is with us. Welcome aboard. Says bestiary. I call it a book of stuff to kill. You know, I think bestiary is a term that Europeans tend to use. Just like the Cthulhu mythos. We always say mythos. In Europe, in England, they say mythos. So I think it's the same thing. I'm so used to just saying bestiary because I had some folks bust my chops. It's not a bestiary, it's a bestiary. What's wrong with you? It's like, yes, because it's filled with so many bests. Flaming Heron says, butt kicking for goodness. Melanie says, boo? Like from Baldur's Gate? Yeah, it's that boo. I received a t-shirt from Wizards as part of the swag that they send on occasion to, reviewers and stuff like that. And it's supposed to be a pocket, and it's a hamster poking its head out. And it says, go for the eyes, boo. Go for the eyes, boo. MC says, I bet Kim Jong-un plays the most annoying Dragonborn paladin ever. Now, Melwina says, I might actually join this contest. What, like I don't have good contests? I know you're not in the US, and usually it's North America that I do that. So MC says, Europeans, aka those who invented the language. Yeah, kind of comes down to that. I'll give you that. I'll give you Latin being European. Yeah, okay. I'll go. And MC says, oh, I digress. All right, everybody. So hopefully that was kind of fun, right? Just hanging out, having a good time. So once again, don't forget, tomorrow we'll be taking a look at Boo's Astral Menagerie. And MC says, love you, Jeff. Hey, we just have a good time here, right? Just hanging out, all getting along. Those who don't get along get the band hammer. I always say that. I think all in 814 shows, there's been like 2 people got kicked out. That's it. All righty then. So that's it for tonight's show. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central, right here on YouTube. It'll also inform you when I upload other videos, such as all of my standalone interviews from Gen Con last week. And, well, I didn't do interviews on Sunday. I would have said, and Sunday. But of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. there's plenty. There is loads and loads of stuff. In fact, I've got 3 new reviews coming from Sammy Uhas. I think all 3 of them are Paizo releases. I'm not positive because I haven't taken a peek, because she's got quite a lot of stuff on her plate at the moment. So that's just stuff that you don't see. They're not videos. They're all written reviews. So if you don't visit thegaminggang.com, you miss out. Don't miss out. Be in the know. Do a little Stargoat over you, like the more you know. All right. Thank you very much. If you were watching live, always appreciate you tuning in. If you took part in chat, bonus experience points for you there. You're going to be able to turn those in at some point in the future. But of course, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Really means a lot to all of you, I should say, take time out of your busy lives to watch any of the videos on this channel. Thank you very, very much for doing so. All right, once again, I'm going to be back tomorrow. We're going to take a look at Dungeons & Dragons Boo's Astral Menagerie. And of course, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. Check out the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, or find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks for watching.